Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about one of the most powerful things you can build in your life: consistency. Not talent, not luck, not resources, but the ability to show up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. Success is not created by big actions, it's created by small actions repeated daily. You don't rise by motivation, you rise by discipline. Motivation is a feeling, it comes and goes. But consistency is a decision, one you make again and again. There will be days when your body is tired, your mind is distracted, your heart is not in it. But those are the days that build your future. Anyone can work on the days they feel inspired. Winners work even when they don't feel ready. When you force yourself to be consistent, you train your mind to stop negotiating with excuses. You build a version of yourself who is reliable, strong, and unstoppable. And slowly, day by day, you transform not only your habits, but your entire destiny. So stop waiting for the perfect mood. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for the right time. The right time is now. The right person is you. And the right tool is consistency is the real engine behind success, because motivation is unpredictable. Some days you wake up inspired, full of energy, ready to conquer the world. But on most days, you don't feel that spark. That's where consistency becomes the game changer. When you decide to show up regardless of how you feel, you unlock a level of power that motivation can never give you. Motivation is emotional. It depends on your mood, your environment, what's happening in your life, or even the weather. It rises and falls just like waves. But consistency is not emotional, it is a commitment. It is a promise you make to yourself that no matter what is happening around you, you will still take at least one step forward. People who rely only on motivation become inconsistent because they stop the moment life gets tough. But people who rely on consistency become unstoppable because they continue even when life throws challenges at them. Consistency builds inner strength, mental discipline, and a sense of reliability. It teaches your mind that you are the type of person who doesn't quit after a bad day, doesn't slow down because of excuses, and doesn't wait for perfect conditions to take action. When you are consistent, even small daily efforts start compounding. You may not notice the progress immediately, but slowly, your results begin to grow, your confidence rises, and your identity changes. You stop saying, "I'll try," and start saying, "I will," and that shift transforms your entire journey. Success is never the result of a single giant leap. It is the outcome of hundreds of small, consistent steps taken over time. Most people underestimate how powerful small actions can be because they look too simple, too ordinary, or too slow. But what they don't realize is that greatness is built in silence through tiny habits repeated again and again until they turn into massive achievements. Every small step you take becomes a brick in the foundation of your success. Reading one page a day might not feel like much, but after a year, you've read books that changed your mindset. Saving a little money daily might look insignificant, but over time, it becomes a strong financial base. Working out for even 10 minutes may seem small, but those minutes compound into strength, confidence, and discipline. The human mind loves big goals, but big goals are achieved through small actions. When you break your journey into manageable steps, it becomes easier to stay consistent. You stop feeling overwhelmed and you start feeling in control. This is where the magic begins, because no matter how small the action, when repeated daily, it creates momentum. And momentum is the force that carries you forward even when the journey gets tough. Small actions also build trust in yourself. Every time you complete a small task, your brain receives a signal. I can do this, I am capable, I am progressing, and that belief becomes a powerful driving force. Over weeks and months, these little victories stack up, transforming your skills, habits, and identity without you even realizing it. So never underestimate the tiny steps. They may look small today, but they hold the power to change everything in your life. Discipline is not something that suddenly appears when you are in a good mood. It is not something you wait for or hope to feel one day. Discipline is a conscious decision, a deliberate choice you make again and again, no matter what your emotions say. Your feelings may tell you to rest, to delay, to take it easy, but discipline tells you to move, to act, to keep going. When you understand that discipline is a choice, you stop giving control to your mood. You no longer depend on how energized you feel or whether you feel inspired. Instead, you develop the ability to do what needs to be done, regardless of the situation. This is where true strength begins. Every successful person in the world has days when they feel tired, distracted, stressed, bored, or unmotivated. But they don't let those feelings decide their actions. They choose to show up. They choose to follow through. They choose the long-term benefit over the short-term comfort. That is discipline. Choosing what you want most over what you want right now. Discipline also builds a strong sense of self-control. When you train yourself to push through resistance, you create a mindset that doesn't collapse under pressure or temptation. You stop negotiating with excuses. You stop waiting for the perfect time, and you stop letting temporary emotions sabotage your future. This power of choice gives you freedom. Freedom from laziness, freedom from inconsistency, freedom from the habit of quitting. Because once you learn to act despite your feelings, you realize you are stronger than every excuse that ever tried to stop you. Discipline is not about punishment, it is about commitment. It is the inner agreement you make with yourself that no matter how tough the day is, you will still take that one necessary step forward. Habits are the invisible architecture of your life. They quietly shape your behavior, your mindset, your results, and ultimately your destiny. And the only way habits are formed is through repetition, through consistency. When you repeatedly take the same action every day, no matter how small, it slowly becomes a natural part of who you are. At first, being consistent feels uncomfortable. Your mind resists. Your body complains. You feel the pull of old habits trying to drag you back into your comfort zone. But when you keep showing up again and again, something powerful begins to happen. Your brain starts creating new neural pathways, new patterns that make the action easier, smoother, more automatic. This is how habits are born. Strong habits don't come from doing something once or twice. They come from showing up hundreds of times, even when nobody is watching, even when no one is praising you, even when progress feels invisible. This consistency works silently in the background, turning effort into routine and routine into identity. The more consistent you are, the less willpower you need. That's the beauty of habits. They take over the hard work for you. What once felt heavy becomes easy. What once required discipline becomes effortless. What once needed motivation becomes standard. Think about any area of success, fitness, business, learning, relationships. None of these improve just because you want them to. They improve because you consistently invest time and effort into them. A person who trains daily, even for a short time, becomes strong. Someone who studies every day becomes knowledgeable. Someone who shows up in their work every day grows skillful and reliable. Consistency is the builder. Habits are the structure. The stronger the habits you create, the stronger the life you build. And the only way to build those habits is to keep repeating the action until it becomes a natural part of who you are. Excuses are the biggest enemies of progress. They come quietly dressed in logic, comfort, and convenience. They sound reasonable, they feel safe, and they show up every time you try to change your life. Excuses tell you that you're too tired, too busy, not ready, not skilled enough, or that you'll start tomorrow. But consistency is the weapon that destroys these excuses one by one. Every time you choose to take action instead of listening to your excuses, you weaken their power. You prove to yourself that you can push beyond your limits, and your excuses lose their control over your decisions. The first few days are tough because your mind is used to comfort. It tries to negotiate with you, offering reasons to delay or stop. But when you stay consistent, you send a message to your mind. I'm in charge, not my excuses. Consistency creates a mental shift. It rewires your thinking from I can't do to I will. When you show up every day, even with small steps, your brain starts recognizing a new pattern, one where action becomes more natural than avoidance. Slowly, excuses that once stopped you become irrelevant. They no longer have the strength to influence your choices because your discipline becomes stronger than your comfort zone. Excuses are loud in the beginning because you haven't built momentum yet. But the more you repeat the action, the quieter those excuses become. Consistency turns resistance into acceptance and acceptance into habit. Instead of searching for reasons to stop, you start searching for ways to keep going. Most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they believe their excuses more than their goals. But when you commit to consistency, you break that cycle. You silence the voice that tells you to quit, and you strengthen the voice that pushes you forward. You build a mental toughness that helps you continue even during challenges. Consistency doesn't just overcome excuses, it destroys them at their root, replacing them with confidence, belief, and inner strength. One of the biggest reasons people fail to stay consistent is the belief that they must be perfect. They think every day must be productive, every effort must be flawless, and every step must be big. But the truth is the opposite. Real success is built on persistence, the ability to keep moving forward even when things are messy, imperfect, or slow. Perfection creates pressure. It makes you believe that if you can't do something perfectly, then it's not worth doing at all. This mindset leads to procrastination, self-doubt, and eventually quitting. But persistence removes that pressure. Persistence says, do it anyway. Do it even if it's not perfect. Just don't stop. When you focus on persistence, you allow yourself to grow gradually. You stop comparing yourself to others and start competing with your own past self. You understand that missing a day is not failure, staying down is. You recognize that stumbling along the way doesn't end the journey. Quitting does. Some days you will give 100%, and some days you may only have 20% to give. But if you give that 20%, you are still moving forward. That is persistence. That is how momentum is built. Progress is not a straight line. It is full of ups and downs, wins and losses, clarity and confusion. But as long as you keep going, you will rise. Persistence teaches you patience. It helps you accept that good things take time. You begin to understand that overnight success is a myth, and every real achievement comes from long-term commitment. Even when results are invisible, persistence ensures that growth is happening underneath the surface. But when you aim for persistence, you get better every single day. And those small improvements collected over weeks and months turn into powerful transformation. Winners are not defined by how they feel, they are defined by what they do. And what sets them apart from everyone else is their ability to show up even on the days when motivation is completely missing. They don't wait for inspiration. They don't depend on energy. They don't allow emotions to decide their actions. They act because they have made a commitment to themselves, and they honor that commitment no matter how difficult it becomes. Motivation is temporary and often unreliable. It disappears when you are tired, when things get stressful, or when life becomes complicated. But winners understand something important. If they only show up when they feel motivated, they will never reach their full potential. So, they train themselves to show up on the hard days, when they are exhausted, when they feel discouraged, when progress is slow, and when the results are not visible yet. Those tough days become their advantage. Every time a winner takes action without motivation, they strengthen their discipline. They build mental toughness that most people never develop. They prove to themselves that their goals matter more than their comfort. And because of that, they grow faster, learn faster, and achieve more than the average person who only works when it feels easy. Showing up without motivation also creates a strong identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who does not quit, someone who does not depend on feelings, someone who can push through challenges. This identity becomes a powerful force that drives you forward in every area of your life. Most people wait for the perfect mood to start. Winners create the mood by starting. They understand that action creates motivation, not the other way around. So even on the days when they drag their feet, when their mind tries to negotiate, when everything inside them says, not today, they still show up. And that consistency transforms their entire future. Your future is not created in one big moment. It is created through the small, disciplined decisions you make every single day. Every action you take either moves you closer to the life you want or pushes you further away from it. That is why daily discipline is not just a habit. It is the steering wheel of your entire future. When you practice discipline regularly, you are shaping the version of yourself that will exist tomorrow, next month, next year, and for the rest of your life. Every disciplined act becomes an investment in a stronger mind, a healthier body, a better career, a more stable future. Discipline builds the path that your future self will walk on. Think of your future self as a person who is depending on you, depending on your effort today, depending on your consistency, depending on your willingness to do the hard things now so life becomes easier later. If you skip the work today, your future self suffers. But if you stay disciplined today, your future self grows stronger, more confident, and more successful Cool. The most successful people don't rely on what they feel like doing. They rely on what they have committed to do. They understand that every day is a chance to grow, to improve, to build, and to strengthen the foundation of their future. They understand that discipline is what creates freedom from stress, freedom from fear, freedom from financial struggle, freedom from regret. Daily discipline also shapes your mindset. When you choose discipline over comfort repeatedly, you develop habits that support your long-term goals. You stop chasing distractions and start chasing progress. You stop hoping for a better future and start building it with your own hands. Your future will not change by wishing. It will change by working. It will change by making the decision every day to do what needs to be done, even when it's hard, boring, or uncomfortable. Daily discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. At the end of the day, your dreams are not waiting for motivation. They are waiting for action. Your goals are not waiting for the perfect moment. They are waiting for your consistency. Every great person you admire became who they are because they made one decision: to show up every single day whether they felt like it or not. So today, make that same decision for yourself. Commit to your journey. Commit to your growth. Commit to your future. Stop letting excuses slow you down and stop allowing your emotions to control your direction. You are stronger than every obstacle, tougher than every excuse, and more capable than you think. Success is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about choosing discipline when others choose comfort. It's about taking small steps every day until the world sees the giant you have become. If you force yourself to be consistent, there will come a day when you look back and thank yourself for not giving up. A day when you realize that every struggle, every sacrifice, and every moment of discipline built the life you always dreamed of. Your future is calling you, loudly, clearly, powerfully. Now it's your turn to rise, your turn to push forward, your turn to become unstoppable.